Pros programming. Said if you dare to tackle a project like this, I recommend being as organized as possible. So I already showed you guys before, but when I did the harness, I wrote down all the colors of the wires coming out of the Switch Pros harness, which output those wires are assigned to, which that I got from the manual here. So I know that stuff. So they tell you what is what. So which wire goes to which output. That's what I did here. And so that wire is assigned to that output, the wire size and amperage. And then I wrote down all my loads on that page. And then I went through and I assigned the load to that wire, and then that's how I wired it up on the harness. Okay. So like I said, what's cool about this is it's pretty much fully customizable. So I have, this is the way I'm going to want to lay out my switch panel. So switch 1, let's see, show you here. So here's the manual here. So you have switch 1 through 4, 5 through 8, and 9 through 12 as you're looking at the panel. So then the way I want to lay it out is switch 1 I want ignition, switch 2 will be start, switch 3 will be my intercooler, fans, and pump. Switch 4 will be my radio and intercom. I'll have 5 and 6 available. Those are kind of close to the steering wheel, so they're a little bit harder to get to than normal. I'm going to have my whip flag here, my GPS here, and then my daytime running light, white and amber, my pod lights and running lights here, my light bar here, and then my dome lights here. So that's the way I've laid it out. So then you'll need to go to Apple Store or Android, whatever, and download the Switch Pros app. So all the Switch Pros need is that 12-volt main power going to it, and then you'll hit scan for local devices, and it'll bring up Switch Pro. So that will connect. And this is just your basic. So what I'm going to go through is I'm going to label all my switches to make it easier, and start with that. Sorry, go back. Switch name and icon. So switch 1, you can do either custom text or you can do your icon. So you come in here and let's go down to ignition, save, and then next one, switch 2 is going to be my start. So go down, find start, save. So I'm going to go through each and every one of these until I'm done. Okay, here I have all my ones that I picked. So ignition start. I know it says engine, but that's for intercooler. What's really cool is they have some name brands like PCI or Rugged, where you can select those. 5 and 6 aren't being used. Whip light, GPS, so all my lights there. There's some funny ones in here too. Like I said, you can either do 3 lines or do your own. They have a lot of different ones, but they have so here's like Rugged, Garmin, PCI, so like name brands if you want those. There has a child seat, looks like ejection seat, but just to raise lower seats. Middle finger, looks like a crazy dude, an alien. There's a, looks like bikini finder, some beer. What else? Gunwale, fish finder. So, I mean, you can use this on, they have this set up for so many different applications. You know, it's not just off-road, you can use it for marine, you know, you name it. You could have multiple panels connected. You know, you could have 2, 3, 4 different Switch Pros modules, you know, in whatever vehicle you have. And, you know, that's 17 outputs, so 2 of them would be, you know, a lot of stuff that you could wire up. And then you can also access both panels at the same time through the app, which is cool too. Ball designs, turbo, you know, smokestack, you know, exhaust, stuff like that. So anyway, those are the emblems that I picked. I'm going to hit escape. So now I've set the name icon. You can set your panel name, you can set a password, enable dimming, your sleep, your backlighting. So you can come in here and you can make your custom backlight. So you can either do here, or you can come in here and create your own custom color. So that would be, you can kind of see, so like mine right now is set for green over there. So you can come in and kind of do a custom color. Hit next. So in this one, I'm not using any of the triggers. My units, I'm using Fahrenheit. So you just have to go through and do all these. Go through all these. So this is when you power up the Switch Pros, if it's enabled or disabled. So I want to be able to turn my radio on and off, and then hit next. I want to be able to turn my whip on and off, my GPS on and off, my daytime running on and off, headlights, roof, and dome. So I think that's it. Oh, then whatever outputs 13 through 17. So if I look back on my list here, output 13, I don't have anything assigned. 14 is my intercooler, so I'm going to enable that. And then output 15 is my daytime running, I'll enable those. Output 16 is my, so that's white, this is amber. And then output 17, I'm not using either. So then we'll hit exit. And then you can even do an off delay. So like when you turn your ignition off, you could actually have a delay before, like let's say, so if you have the switch configured to ignition, like your ignition switch has to be on. Not confused with this. Like this, when I push this, it turns my fuel pump, all that on. So it's not necessarily that, but when I hit my ignition switch and gives that blue wire, that 12-volt power signal, then you can have those things set up for battery or ignition. So when you turn that manual ignition switch off, you can have these different outputs with a time delay. So let's say, for instance, you don't want your, my cooling fans, I don't want those to be able to turn off for, like, let's do enable, and then you can set your time in seconds. So let's say 500 seconds and save. So when I turn, when that blue wire, that input loses power, then I can still be able to run my fans for 500 seconds after I turn the ignition off. And then overcurrent values, you can come in here and you set the overcurrent for each switch. So if you want, you can lower these down. Your single pole double throw, single pole triple throw, switch configuration. That one you can come in and you can assign multiple things to each output. So like I want my output 1, which is my ignition on. I could have other stuff come on. So like I want that to be, it's on switch 1. Output 2 is on switch 2. Output 3 is on switch 3. So, like I said, there's a ton of stuff you can do in here. And then next. So this is the cool part that I like, is the on-off setup. So that I want to do like my daytime running, to where the first push is my white daytime running, the second push is my amber, and then the third push would off. And then what I can do is so this will be switch number 9. So I come down here, I select switch number 9, and when I turn that on, I just want my white dual daytime running on. And so that is on output 15. So I go down to O15. Okay. You can do up to 3 on here. So if I press that one switch, I could have up to 3 outputs come on the same time. But I just want those. And then when I press it again, if you want that first one to stay on, you would put that here, but I don't. I want my whites to turn off and my amber yellow to come on. So that is output 16. But if you wanted white and amber to come on the same time, that's where you would select output 1, you leave as output 15. And so then when I push the second switch, it would turn 2 on at once. So that's an example of how to do that. You can set your panel lock, your safety lockout, if you have more than one system. So then you can hit summary of program functions and it will show you how these are all done. But like I said, I have to go back through and set all those up. So I go to exit, exit. Okay, next part, we need to configure each of the switches. Go to settings and then configure switches. So if you want it on or off or momentary, so what you would do for momentary would be like a start button, to where you push the button and it closes, you release the button and it stops. Whereas everything else I want is on or off. I push it and it stays on, I push it again, it turns off. So I have everything else set for on off except for my start. So then battery or ignition. I want these things to only run when my ignition is on. I'll turn my radio and whip, my GPS, my daytime running, headlights, light bar, and dome. I'm gonna have all those on battery. That way I can use them anytime. You can do flashing, you can set them up for strobe. What's really cool is I can't remember exactly how to get into it, but there's a way you can also temporarily set a switch up to flash or strobe. So let's say you're stuck somewhere and you're trying to get someone's attention, you can actually set it up to strobe.
Discovering pairing successful.
So I was saying was you can actually set it up just to temporarily to flash or strobe. So if you're stuck and you need to get someone's attention, you can turn it on to strobe and it will, strobe until you turn that switch off, and then it will go back to how you normally programmed it. Next screen here is low voltage disconnect. So I have it set to where if your battery hits 11 volts, all of your outputs will disconnect. You can set the memory. Like I said, there's a ton of features. I'm not going to go through each and every single one of them. I'm going to do a master switch for my ignition and my fans on switch 1. So here is where you set everything up. So when I turn on the ignition, it's going to turn on my output 1, which is my ignition, and then output 2 is a number 14, which is the fans and intercooler pump. And what I did to make it easier, life easier, is on my paper I just wrote down which output. So start is output 2, that one's already done. Switch number, the fan number 3 is going to be output 14. So that way I can actually manually turn them on or off. Radio and intercom is output 11 and also output 12. Switch 5 and 6 are not being used. Oops, I need to go back and put these to none. That was just from earlier when I just kind of threw some stuff in there to test before I made all my final wiring connections. Number 7, output 5 is for my whip flag. And then GPS is output number 10. And then daytime running, that will be output 15 and 16, okay. Pod lights is output 9 and output 7. We might have to do something here. I'll see. So output 9 and 7. So I have my running lights wired to output 9, and then my pods are wired to output 7. So that's why I had to select both of those, so it turns both of those on. Light bar is going to be output 3 and output 4. And then my dome light is going to be output 6. And hit exit. So everything should be configured. There might be a few little things I have to do, but as far as like setting my password, all that. Also, I still need to come up with the name for the car. If you have any suggestions, let me know. But it's a 2006 Desert Dynamics. But I still haven't come up with the name for her yet. I need to do that. So then I should be able to turn all these on without, now that I have it set to battery, I can turn them on at any time. So let me move the camera here. So I'm going to hit my dome lights. There's my dome lights, my roof. There, just turned on my light bar, my headlights. So there, it just turned on my headlights and my running lights. Okay. And then I'm going to turn those off. I'm going to turn my... So this one, I'm going to have to change because when I turn it on, it doesn't do either one. Here's my radio. So I just saw my intercom light come on. So once I get another radio, I should be able to see that. So there, it's connected to Bluetooth. I turn that off. This will turn my fans on. Okay, so if I hit this, so ignition is a master switch. And then I can start it. Whip light won't work obviously because I don't have it on. GPS, I have to actually turn it on manually from there. So there's a few little things I got to do here, but that's it's kind of the basics of how to set these up, how to program them. So it's one of those things you just got to kind of play around. I'll try to remember to put Switch Pros YouTube channel, or you just search for their YouTube channel. They have a lot of like, they used to call it like to do or feature Friday or something like that, to where she would actually go through and show all the different features of the Switch Pros app and how to go through and program a lot of these things. So that's where I learned some of it. You know, yeah, that's the basics of it. Okay, I was going to show you guys kind of the final programming for the Switch Pros. So, like I said, there's my app. There's all the stickers, or whatever you want to call them. So, let's see. So battery is on. Turn ignition on. So ignition is on. Panel lights up. So I made it to where you can actually lock out they call it a safety lockout. But anyway, my start and my fans, I cannot turn those on unless my ignition is on. So I have it set for switch 1, which is my ignition. So if I come up here and I try to hit the fan, it won't do anything. Or start button, it's not doing anything. So then I also have it set up to where my ignition, it's also that on off setup. So like on this one, my switch number, that one is this one. So switch number 1, when I turn it on, output 1 is my ignition. And then if I push it again, it's going to leave my ignition on, and then it's going to turn my intercooler fans on. So with ignition once, everything turns on, fuel pump turns on, but no fans. I push again, now my intercooler fans come on. And then I can also manually turn them off with that switch now. So but my ignition has to be on for me to be able to turn the fans on and off manually too. So now I can push the start button and the car will start. Okay, so I have these set up for ignition, so my ignition has to be on in order to use these 3. I have these others set up for batteries, so I can have the ignition off and then still run my, so there's my intercom and radio. I have both of those. Once I get my radio in, I have both of those programmed, so both of them turn off with one switch, or turn on and off with the one switch, I should say. My whip light, my GPS, so I turn that on, hit the power button on here, GPS turns on, there I just turned it off. Daytime running, so I have this one set up on the on-off. So I press it once and that turns on my white daytime running. I press it once more, my whites turn off, and now my amber daytime running come on only. And then I press once more and it turns them off. Headlights, I have two separate switches. I have one output for my headlights, my new headlights. I have a separate output for all my running lights. And I program those so both of those come on when I push this one button. So obviously headlights are on. Then on my interior gauge lighting is on. And then my running lights on my tail lights are on. And then light bar, I put that one as on, off, because there's actually two separate wires that run up to the light bar. So if I press it once, the two middle ones come on only. I press again, now all four come on. And then I press a third time and they all turn off. And then the last here is the dome. So dome lights on and off. And then you can also do everything through here. So that like if you wanted something like temporarily flash or strobe, that will, I talked about earlier, that will be under quick actions. So go to quick action, and then let's do my headlights. So I want them to flash, 100% dimming, so 100% output. And then if I hit exit, oops, sorry. So flash 100%, and then you turn the button on here. Now my headlights are flashing. So let's say if you needed help, then you can set this up to where it will temporarily flash. So if you want to, you could even use it like as a hazard. So this is just temporarily. And you see the dimming on that is set up to where when the lights come on, this dims down. So then if I hit the headlight again to turn it off, and I turn it on, it goes back to how it's normally programmed. So that quick action is just a temporary, if you need just a temporary. So that's what I was talking about before. Turn the headlights off. So then I set my password for the app, and I turned on the panel lock setup. So I have that on now to where after 1 minute my panel will lock out, so I have to enter the code in on the panel, and then every time I get into the app I have to enter in my passcode for the app. And then there's that summary, and that's what that safety lockout is make it to where one switch has to be on in order to run other switches. So there you go. That's how basically programmed and how it works. So now next step is to finish tidying up the wiring up there for the intercom, and then now I need to make a bar for the rear seat, the center seat. I'm going to make a support bar for the new harness for it. get the new harnesses in, and then I can get the seats in, and we'll be ready to rock and roll again. I'd like to get at least another trip or two in before the end of the season of Glamis. So once again, if you like what's going on, don't forget to hit subscribe and give a like for the video. Check out my other videos if you want to. This is the third one, so if you want to see the other videos that I did prior to this on like how the car was wired versus how it is now, go check those out first. Also still have the video from New Year's, our Glamis trip to New Year's, and then I'll try to get some footage of our next trip out. All right, so thanks guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video.